You are listening to the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. And now your host, Caleb Turner.
Hello again and welcome everybody to our downtown Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada studios here in downtown Coquitlam. It is January 26th, 2013. Live on this kind of rainy Saturday afternoon. It continues, another rainy day on the Caleb Turner Talk Show. Live in studio from the Anchor Radio Network. We got a great show planned for you today. We're going to talk about the Vancouver Canucks and the start to their 2013 NHL campaign. Decent start. 5 out of a possible 8 points. We'll get to that later. And I'm going to have Phil Davis is going to be stopping by and joining us from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs so far. You got it live on the Caleb Turner Talk Show. We're going to get a break. We'll be right back. You got it on the Anchor Radio Network.
You can pre-order your 2013-2014 Seattle Seahawks NFL tickets right now. They are going on sale in the next 48 hours, so get your tickets. You can call to the Seahawks team store and or Ticketmaster and get your Seattle Seahawks season tickets for next year.
The Vancouver Canucks take on the San Jose Sharks tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, live right here on the Anchor Radio Network from San Jose. The Canucks look to win their third straight game against the hot San Jose Sharks, with the mighty Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau, league leaders in points. Can the Canucks win their third straight and beat San Jose at the Shark Tank? Find out right here live on the Anchor Radio Network.
You are listening to the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. And now your host, Caleb Turner.
We are live from Studio 47 here in downtown Coquitlam. It is another rainy day, as I mentioned in the opener. When are we ever going to have a sunny broadcast? Nice music, Bob. I love it. A lot of things have happened in the last week since the last broadcast. The NHL season opened up, and I believe the last time we broadcasted, I was talking about the Vancouver Canucks, and I gave my season preview. I don't know if I gave my Stanley Cup prediction or not. But after the first 4 games, after the first 2 games, I should say first, my Stanley Cup prediction was Minnesota and Toronto. Yeah, Minnesota and Toronto. My Stanley Cup prediction after 4 games is either Boston or New Jersey coming out of the East, and Chicago, San Jose, or Vancouver coming out of the West. Chicago is 4-0. Undefeated. And they've played 3 of their first 4 games on the road away from the Madhouse on Madison. That, my friends, proves if you're a good team or not, if you can win on the road. There will be teams this year, out of the 48 games, you're going to play 24 on the road, 24 at home. There will be teams that can't win 6 or 7 games on the road out of 24. So you're looking at 6-18 on the road. Chicago already has 3 wins on the road. They only have to play 21 more road games this year. And I think they can win at least 10. Maybe more. But you're looking at probably the President's Trophy winners for the 2013 NHL regular season. The Chicago Blackhawks. But right snuggled up right next to them, I see the San Jose Sharks, who are right there at 3-0-1. 3-0-1? Is it 3-0-1? Or is it just 3-0? I think it's just 3-0. Either way, they're second in the West with 6 points at least. But what I think is more impressive is Joe Thornton with 9 points, Patrick Marleau with 8. And Patrick Marleau has 6 goals. 6 goals! Already! 3 games into the season. I mean, that's nuts. We think it's crazy here in Vancouver with Mason Raymond and Zach Cassian having 3 goals in the first 4 games. But you got Patrick Marleau with 6. Doubling that. Very, very impressive. And the Canucks, they haven't really impressed me yet. I mean, I know last night, 5-0 winners in Anaheim. Anaheim stunk. I am surprised they beat the Canucks 7-3 at Rogers Arena opening night. That was embarrassing. As a Canucks fan, that was embarrassing. The Tampa Bay Lightning lead the NHL with 19 goals for. 19 goals for. They lead their division, which isn't really saying much considering Washington is last in the East and LA is last in the West. Nobody predicted that. I mean, I think everybody predicted LA was going to have a Stanley Cup hangover, but last in the West? They haven't won a game yet. The 3 teams that have not won a game yet in the NHL are LA, Washington, and Calgary. I only think one of those teams aren't... At the beginning of the season, I would have said only one of those 3 teams weren't going to make the playoffs, and that'd be Calgary. I know it's just 3 and 4 games into the season, but, you can't afford to be winless through 4 games. Every point counts with a 48-game season on the line. And we'll get into the Canucks in a little bit, talking about the league in general. Sammy Salo, former ex-Canuck from the previous, 10, 11, 12 seasons, is +8 to start the season for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and last night he was on the ice for 4 of the Tampa Bay's goals. Sammy Salo, +8, leading the league in plus-minus. Who saw that? He's their top defenseman. He went from being number 3 or 4 on Vancouver to number 1 in Tampa Bay. Of course, Matthias Ohlund's there. Unless he retired. Did he retire? Somebody's got to check that out. I can't remember if he's retired or not yet. But if not, then they're playing together. Ex-teammates here in Vancouver for a long, long time. It seems like we're always making deals with Tampa Bay and Florida. What's with the state of Florida? Do we just like making moves? Anyways, it was very impressive to see Todd Bertuzzi getting a couple of goals last night for Detroit, who, if the playoffs started today, would not be in the playoffs. Is that unbelievable or what? First in the West, Chicago. Second, San Jose. Third, Vancouver. But it's so early. I mean, it is so early. Vancouver's third, and the next opponent in their division would be Colorado in 6th, and then you got Edmonton in 8th. It'd be kind of cool, though, right now. If the playoffs started today, you'd have 2 Canadian teams in the West making the playoffs, and then you'd have 3 for sure in the East making the playoffs. Toronto is on the outside looking in due to the tiebreak with Pittsburgh. But you'd have 5 teams right now if the playoffs started today from Canada making the playoffs. That'd be very nice. And none of them would be playing... nope. None of them would be playing each other in the first round. So you would have, well, actually, no, you would. Ottawa and Winnipeg would be playing each other if the playoffs started today. But it gets so early. 3 or 4 games into the season, depending on where you're at. The Vancouver Canucks are 4 games into the season. The Chicago Blackhawks, 4-0, as I mentioned earlier. They have 8 points out of a possible 8, obviously. They have 17 goals for and 10 goals against. Over in the West, you got Boston, who's 3-0-1. First in the East, they got 7 out of a possible 8 points, 12 goals for, 8 goals against. No, and for the people that do not know NHL stats, this is not betting poker lines. 12 goals for, 8 goals against. That's not your betting odds or anything like that. This is like stats. This is what we do. This is what hockey, diehard Canuck fans or diehard hockey fans do. You keep track of the stats. We're going to read some Canuck stats in a minute. Some of them are really, really amazing to even wrap your head around. Nobody predicted what has happened. Okay, here's something that we need to discuss. My Stanley Cup predictions 2 games into the season was Toronto and Minnesota. Both those teams looked unbelievable in their first 2 games. Of course, Toronto usually looks good in their first 4 and 5 games. every season, then they just fall apart. Minnesota, not so much. They usually don't look good, but they started out 2-0. They've lost 2 straight. They're 2-2. 4th in the West, on the outside looking in. They aren't going to make the playoffs. They have so many good players. Danny Heatley, Zach Parise. Is not Devin Setaguchi there? The list goes on. I'm not very well educated with who Minnesota has. I'm not a Minnesota Wild fan. I'm an NHL fan. I know only the big players. Big name players, I should say. Big players would be like Zach Kassian, Daniel Winnick, Dustin Byfuglien. Those are big boys. Those are the big Brutuses. But my Stanley Cup prediction, like I've said, it's going to vary because it's only 3 and 4 games in. I think a couple weeks from now, we'll get our new Stanley Cup prediction in. But my Stanley Cup prediction at the beginning of the season was Minnesota and Toronto. I guess I can hold to that. Both those teams probably aren't going to make the playoffs. Toronto might. If Toronto can get their offense going, they'll be fine. They'll make the playoffs. No sweat. And, of course, players sweat in games, so that doesn't really work. But anyways, New Jersey. This is an interesting scenario. The New Jersey Devils are 3-0 to start the season. 6 out of a 6 possible points. They have 8 goals for, 3 goals against. That's amazing. Marty Brodeur's only given up 3 goals in 3 games. This guy's, what is he, like 40? And he's only given up 3 goals in 3 games to start the season? No hangover for him. Good night. New Jersey isn't getting much offense either. 8 goals for, and a lot of those were last night. So they got to start helping out their goalie. Or they aren't going to go anywhere. But second in the East. First in their division. The next team close to them in their division would be the Islanders. Teams that have really surprised me, again, we mentioned LA, Washington, Calgary. I wasn't really surprised about Calgary. Calgary's got so many problems, it's not even funny. They've got the Roberto Luongo kind of situation with Jerome McGinley, who won't let go of his contract. But that's another long, boring story for people that don't really want to learn about contract issues. But a team that's really surprised me is the Philadelphia Flyers, who are second to last in the East. That's a little surprising. They aren't in the playoffs. If you're second to last in the East, you're not in the playoffs. And they brought in another big-name player. They got Mike Richards and Jeff Carter. Mike Richards is not in Philadelphia. Jeff Carter, not in Philadelphia. I'm getting confused. Mike Richards and Jeff Carter are in L.A. Thank you for correcting me, Bob. I am 3 years in the past. Mike Richards and Jeff Carter both played for Philadelphia 3 years ago. But they don't play with him right now. Wow, that was a major blonde moment. Jeff Carter and Mike Richards are with LA, and that's the team that surprised me the most, because LA brought in more guns with all the guns they already have after winning the Stanley Cup, and they haven't won a game yet. That's pretty impressive in a negative connotation. Very, very impressive. Negatively speaking. You got to be really, really bad if you can't win with the players that LA has. They got some good players. Okay, they won the Stanley Cup last year. You're going to have a little bit of a hangover. Does LA make the playoffs? Me saying it right now, no, they don't make the playoffs right. That's looking at their team right now. And I think anybody would tell you that. Do the Canucks win their division? Yes, they win their division after seeing several games. I don't think they're going to have much of a problem with it, although, coming out of Edmonton, there's a lot of people saying the Edmonton Oilers might be up for the Northwest Division this year. Now, kudos to Nail Yakupov with the celebration. I absolutely love the celebration. And my second favorite team is Tampa Bay. My third favorite team is Edmonton. I mean, the Oilers look good. They're lacking some defensemen, and they're lacking a consistent goalie, although their goaltending seems to be kind of average, a little bit above average right now. So, but they haven't played some talented teams yet. Now, the LA Kings game, okay, the Kings should have won the game, and the Oilers fought so hard, and that was an incredible... That's probably in the top 5 games of the year, and I don't think that there will be any teams coming anywhere close to that game. 4.7 seconds left in the game, you tie it 1-1, your fans go nuts, and Nail Yakupov does the Theo Fleury celebration, skating to center ice, going on his knees, sliding all the way into his own zone. The spotlight was on him. That's something that I like, what some teams do. They use the spotlight and they put it on the players that scored. I do like that. I wish the Canucks would do that. But the Canucks aren't about celebration. They're about business. But so far, they haven't gotten the business done. Which leads me to the Vancouver Canucks, my team. Now, a lot of things that have happened to start the season are very, very surprising. Number one, your goal-leading players are guys that probably, well, one of the guys wasn't even going to be on the team this year. At least a lot of people were saying Mason Raymond should have been traded and or just let go. And yet, he is tied for the team lead in goals with 3 through 4 games. And he's got 2 power play goals. He's a second unit power play man. The second unit's actually done pretty good on the power play. They've scored a couple goals. That's pretty impressive. But the other surprising goal leader is Zach Kassian. Now, I know a lot of people thought that it might be like this at the start of the season because Zach Kassian played unbelievable in Chicago with the Canucks farm team there with the Wolves, which that's another story in itself. Why in the world is the Canucks farm team in Chicago? Our fiercest rivals are in Chicago. Why would you put our farm team there? That's something else that's just a little bit... It bothers me a little bit. I know Manitoba had to give up their team because Winnipeg got their NHL team back, which, okay, fine, whatever. Why not move out here to Vancouver? That's something that I never understand. Why does your farm team not play in your city? Why? You know, the Maple Leafs have the Marlies, and they play in Toronto. How come it's just Toronto? And I know some other teams have it too, but, I mean, come on. The Vancouver Canucks farm team should be in Vancouver. If not in Vancouver, then somewhere else in British Columbia. I don't know where they'd put them. I mean, they'd have to probably put them in Rogers Arena, which that wouldn't work out. So I guess the issue is arena problems. But it bothers me that our farm team is in the city where we have our fiercest rivals, the Chicago Blackhawks. So, but anyways, that's just a side note. Daniel Sedin leads the team in points with 6. No surprise. He's got 2 of his goals. Both of them are on the power play. He's +2. No, maybe that's Henrik. Henrik's +2. I'm sorry. Henrik's +2. Danny has the only game-winning goal. I guess you could technically give a game-winning goal to Zach Kassian. This guy's unbelievable. He's got 3 goals. He's got a shootout game winner against the Calgary Flames. He's got 1 power play goal. Surprisingly, he hasn't gotten into a fight yet, and that's what leads me to believe that they've changed this guy's personality into this goal-scoring machine. He really reminds me of Jeff Cowan. Back when he had his time here in Vancouver, and they nicknamed him the Bra Man. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Does anybody remember Jeff Cowan? Come on, Jeff Cowan was awesome. Jeff Cowan would score goals, and, well, he had about a couple of weeks where he was, scoring goals, and everybody's like, oh, Jeff Cowan for mayor. Jeff Cowan for president. And he's not even in the NHL anymore. So this is obviously a face. Now, something else that was nice about last night's game. You had Aaron Volpatti and Kevin Bieksa drop the gloves. That needs to happen more often. That needs to definitely happen more often. The Canucks brought in brutes to fight. To protect the Sedin twins, to protect the small rookie forwards who get beat up. That's what they're for. That's what Kevin Bieksa is for. Now, I know he's a defenseman and he's one of our best, but he's stunk so far. So you know what he needs to do? He needs to just go and start picking some fights. Try to get some momentum built up. Knock some guy out. Get some momentum built. If you can't score a goal and you aren't doing as good as you should be doing as a defenseman, get in a fight. Pick a fight. Instigate some guy. I don't care. Do something that catches the coach's attention. It was nice to see Aaron Volpatti get in a fight last night, and he won that fight, by the way. Knocked the guy out. Made him bleed. Well, he didn't knock him out, but if you watch the replay, when he connected with that one shot on the side of his face, the guy kind of crumpled a little bit. I mean, he was still obviously conscious and everything, but he started to bleed, and he thought he won the fight and started getting the crowd all pumped up, but he lost the fight. Aaron Volpatti won it. Another thing that was nice last night, Aaron Volpatti gets a goal. Now, it was a fluke goal, but all goals count, and I know he's definitely going to take it because that's probably going to be one of maybe 2 goals that he probably scores this season. Another good note, Alex Edler, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points to start the year. He has a power play goal as well. A negative note, Dan Hamhuis, -3, Manny Malhotra, -3. Now, I know Dan Hamhuis has a goal and 2 assists, but he's -3. Now, I know the plus-minus ratio doesn't really mean much. It just means you were on the ice for at least 3 of the other team's goal, probably more. And it would have to be more. I feel kind of bad for the guy. He's had a bad start. And his defensive partner, Kevin Bieksa, hasn't been doing the best either. The best defense pairing right now is Alex Edler and Jason Garrison. Garrison is +3 to start the year. That's pretty impressive. He leads the team in plus-minus. Manny Malhotra, -3. His wife just had a baby yesterday. Or was it 2 days ago? 2 days ago. And, I know he's had that probably in his mind, but he's not played well to start the season. And I said after the first 2 games that he might probably get traded. I did not know that his wife was expecting, just found that out yesterday, so maybe they'll give him another week to at least try to work on some things. All he's there for is face-offs. I mean, the guy's a face-off machine, but he's a third-line center. He's expected to score, and he hasn't done that yet. He's got no points. But he's going to miss the next week. He's not on this road trip. He's not going to play against San Jose. And then whatever the Canucks' third game is on the road trip, we'll have to look that one up too. The goaltending issue. There is no issue anymore. It is Corey Schneider, starter, Roberto Luongo, backup. And after that first game, it was a little bit scary. But Corey Schneider is definitely the starter. 30-save shutout last night. His 5th career regular season shutout. 2.78 goals against average, .913 save percentage, and he has started 3 of the 4 games. That is Corey Schneider's stat line, 2-1. Roberto Luongo had the 1 start, lost in a shootout. He's at .909 save percentage and a 2.45 goals against, averaging his 1 start that he had, plus some relief effort with Schneid's in the first game. Now here's another thing. Alex Burrows leads the team with 15 shots on goal. He's not scored, and he has 1 assist. He's not scored, has 1 assist, 15 shots on goal. That's a little bit disappointing for me, and I know it's disappointing for him. He had the penalty shot, and he stunk on that penalty shot. Probably should have scored, lost the handle. If he doesn't lose the handle, he scores, place goes nuts. We're not talking about Alex Burrows today. We're not talking about Alex Burrows if he scores on that penalty shot yesterday. But the guy has got to get a goal. He's got to get the monkey off his back, because I know he's got it right now. I know he's got a lot of pressure on him. Because he got denoted to the second line. And at the rate he's going right now, he's going to get denoted to the third line when Ryan Kessler comes back. If Ryan Kessler comes back, which that's another story. Alex Edler is second on the team with 13 shots on goal. And then, of course, Raymond with 11, Danny with 10, and Cassian with 9. Garrison has 9. So your top 5 shooters, out of those top 5, you got your top 2 scorers on the team, Raymond, Cassian, and of course, if you're going to throw Danny in there, he's got 2 as well. So you got in those top stats 2, 4, 7, 10 goals for. Yeah, 10 goals for there in those top 5 shooters. That is why they shoot the puck. The Canucks look good. All right, the Canucks do look good. I know it's still a work in progress. I know they lost 7-3 to Anaheim, and of course they lost in a shootout to Edmonton 3-2. But they were able to beat Calgary in a shootout, and of course they whooped up on Anaheim last night, 5-0. I'm not worried about them. I think they'll do just fine. I think tomorrow night's game is going to be a big test, playing in San Jose, and San Jose is probably one of the best teams in the league right now. In fact, in my eyes, they are. Probably the second best team in the league. I'd go Chicago, then San Jose, then Boston, then New Jersey, then Tampa Bay, then Vancouver. So Vancouver is probably 6th in the league right now. In my eyes, stat-wise. Probably 6th. And you got your Canadian teams right now at the playoffs to start. 5 of the 7 would be in the playoffs. So that's nice to see that stat right there. The Canucks 2-1-1. They play the San Jose Sharks tomorrow. We will have the broadcast right here on the Anchor Radio Network. I think the Canucks are going to be okay. They're obviously probably going to win their division, and I can see them getting 2nd in the West. I don't think they're going to come out of the West first. I just can't see that happening. It would be bad if Chicago can't hold on to first in the West with the start that they've had. Now, they could get into injury problems like most teams have gotten into in previous years. But I don't think there's any problem with the Canucks getting 2nd place in the West. When we come back, we are going to get a phone call from Mr. Phil Davis himself of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're going to talk about the NHL playoffs so far. Of course, the Pro Bowl is tomorrow. I think the Pro Bowl is one of the worst events in the NFL, and I think it's one of the worst events in sports, except for the NHL shootout attempt at the NHL All-Star Weekend. I think that's the worst. The NHL shootout where all the players come out and the last one left, wins and everything. I think that's pretty stupid. I think the best event of those kind of categories, like an All-Star Weekend kind of thing, I think the best event is probably the NBA Slam Dunk Competition. I do not like the Pro Bowl, especially with where it is at. The Pro Bowl is a week before the Super Bowl. How come you can't do the Pro Bowl a week after the Super Bowl? How come the Super Bowl can't be tomorrow and the Pro Bowl be next week? That doesn't make any sense. Because there's players that have been voted to the Pro Bowl teams, AFC and NFC, that are on the Super Bowl teams. Baltimore and San Francisco. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are confusing to me in the world of sports. A lot of things that are very, very confusing. Like why the LA Lakers aren't in the playoffs right now. If the playoffs were to start today, the Lakers are not in the playoffs. That is, my friends, is a very, very embarrassing statement right there. And they manhandled Utah last night. They should be manhandling every team. Who do they got? They got Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, and the best player in the NBA, Kobe Bryant. Now, right now, the best player in the NBA is not Kobe Bryant. It's LeBron James, Kevin Durant. You choose, you vote, you decide. I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know if anybody saw it. The half-court shot attempt, Miami Heat, Detroit Pistons. The halftime thing where the fan comes out and shoots the half-court shot. The guy kind of did like a hook shot from half-court, and he made it, and LeBron tackled him in celebration. LeBron went nuts. I mean, the fan had to have been like, man, LeBron just tackled me. That's huge. I'm just surprised that guy didn't get hurt. I mean, LeBron's a machine. Lakers and Thunder playing tomorrow. That'll be a fun game. OKC comes to LA. That is going to be a really, really good game. And I know the Lakers just got done beating Utah. Well, they're going to have a very, very huge challenge against OKC tomorrow. I think the Lakers can beat them, but they're probably going to get their butts kicked. LA is not winning that game tomorrow. There is absolutely no way. Unless Kobe Bryant pops off with like 45 points and Dwight Howard follows it up with like 25 and you got Metta World Peace making like 5 or 6 threes like he almost did last game. There is so many stories this past week. Look at all these top-ranked college basketball teams. Today, Syracuse loses. Louisville loses for the 3rd straight time, and that leaves Michigan at number 2, possibly number 1 after today. I mean, right now, the college, and this is a totally another story, but the college basketball top 25 is wide open for the picking to any team. Villanova has beaten Louisville, and now they beat Syracuse. Villanova should be in the top 25 after today, and I'm sure they will. We're going to get a break. When we come back, Phil Davis of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is going to join us live on the Caleb Turner Talk Show here on the Anchor Radio Network, live from Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. Thank you for listening so far. A lot of sports talk, and we're just going to keep going on with the sports concept when we come back. Phil Davis and more next on the Cable Tuner Talk Show. You got it, live on the Anchor Radio Network.
Next Sunday, the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers play each other in the biggest event of the NFL this season, the mighty Super Bowl. Niners and Ravens, go Ravens, that's who we're pulling for here on the Anchor Radio Network. But you can listen to the Super Bowl live next week, coverage beginning at 1 o'clock live, right here on the Anchor Radio Network.
You are listening to the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. And now your host, Caleb Turner.
We're back live on the Caleb Turner Talk Show, live from our downtown Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada studios. Thanks for the music, Bob. That's nice. I like that. It's a nice little tune. So I think we've used that one before. The first segment talking about the NHL regular season to start. The Vancouver Canucks starting out 2-1-1. I think that there's no reason to be a little scared. They started out kind of rough, but they've won back-to-back games, so I'm not scared. I'm not really worried. I think they'll do just fine. They should come out of the Northwest Division on top. Probably second place in the West, I think is where they're going to be at this year. No President's Trophy, no three-peat. Where they are at right now. With the teams that are also in the Western Conference, you got some talented teams on those teams. I guess I should rephrase myself. Talented players on those teams. San Jose, you got Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton, all at the top of the NHL scoring. And then, of course, the Chicago Blackhawks undefeated to start the 2013 campaign. We switched gears from ice to grass. The NFL playoffs, I'm a little ticked with what has transpired within the last little while. My Seattle Seahawks obviously aren't in the Super Bowl, and they should be. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. 31 seconds was all they had to do. And they're in the Super Bowl, and they're playing the Baltimore Ravens at Super Bowl 48 live from New Orleans, but instead it's the San Francisco 49ers. I'm joined now by our expert NFL analyst. We love him here on the show, the Caleb Turner Talk Show, the Anchor Radio Network. Phil Davis of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette live from Pittsburgh. Mr. Davis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, Caleb. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. A little upset about what has transpired within the past couple weeks, but hey, it is Super Bowl, well, not Super Bowl weekend yet, it's Pro Bowl weekend, as they'd say, and that's something else that we talked about earlier in the show, how I hate where the Pro Bowl is located on the scheduling. How about yourself?
I agree. Why do they have the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it honestly, it should be either a week after the Super Bowl, or they shouldn't have it at all.
Right. I mean, injuries could happen. They could change the whole fate of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of the players on the Pro Bowl roster, a lot of them are in the Pro Bowl. So obviously the Super Bowl roster gets a little bit shaken up. I know Russell Wilson is on the Pro Bowl roster. I guess he's not in the Super Bowl, but I think Joe Flacco was named to the Pro Bowl, possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
I want to say Colin Kaepernick was named to the Pro Bowl, which is no shock because he's probably right now the most talked about athlete in the world of sports right now. And I don't know if you heard or not, but he's considering trademarking his touchdown celebration, calling it Kaepernicking.
Like Tebowing.
Yeah, like Tebowing. Have you seen his celebration?
Have I seen it myself? Yes, I think I have.
Where he does
Where
he tries to kiss his elbow.
Yeah.
Or not his elbow, his muscle.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it's kind of like Ray Lewis has his own little dance. That's okay.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really his celebration is very resemblant to like a wrestling move celebration or something where they kiss their muscle or something like that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that too. So, how's the weather up there in Coquitlam?
Well, it's very rainy. Every time we do a broadcast, I was mentioning this earlier on the broadcast. Every time we do a broadcast, it's always either raining or cloudy. Every one that we've done, every time that we've been on the air, the Anchor Radio Network, it has always been raining and or cloudy. I don't know what it is.
That's weird.
What about there in Pittsburgh?
Pretty cloudy. Little snow, flurries here and there. It's pretty cold. Kendall sends you her love, by the way. She says hi.
Nice to, oh yeah, well, of course, yeah. Hi back to her as well. Is that the one that got you that coat that we were talking about earlier last time on the broadcast?
Oh, well, I actually said my grandma got me a coat, which she did.
Mm-hmm.
But then I found out later that yes, she did.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it helps when you got, snow and ice and everything else where it's cold, and it helps to have a nice coat to wear around the.
Roundabout. I don't want to get pneumonia again.
Oh wow, that's not good. You got to stay inside, man. Are you gonna be there in New Orleans for the Super Bowl?
I got my tickets all reserved. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but of course I'm going to make it.
Of course.
I'm with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I go to every Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm totally going to this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the weather should be pretty nice down there. Of course, it is a domed game, so I don't think that you're going to have any problems with the actual game itself.
No.
Yeah, the weather down there should be pretty nice.
Yep, looking pretty snazzy.
Switching gears, talking about some of the playoffs that have happened. What's the team that has stuck out to you the most? I know you got San Francisco and Baltimore. But is there any team that stuck out to you the most so far in the well, I guess I should say in the playoffs, because so far there's only one more game left, but in the playoffs that, were able to at least win a game, maybe win 2 games, maybe a team that wasn't supposed to come out and win a game even in the playoffs. Has there been any team that's really stuck out to you the most?
I did like the Seattle Seahawks. I know I'm stealing your thunder a little bit, but I did like the Seahawks, and as you said, that 31 seconds there crushed me.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the game, and I was like, they're going to let it slip away in this last 31, and they did. And I was quite heartbroken.
Yeah, that was...
Yes, they were impressive. Rookie quarterback coming to the playoffs. They looked amazing. I'm surprised they didn't hold out. It's unfortunate. They should have. They should be in the Super Bowl, but unfortunately they're not.
Yeah, 31 seconds is going to be the new slogan for the Seattle Seahawks here in the offseason. I know they have an incredible future, but, 31 seconds away from making it to the NFC Championship game, and I honestly think the Seahawks match up the best against the Niners, as we saw, I believe it was in week 16, the second to last game of the season, where the Seahawks absolutely smoked the Niners at Quest Field. Now, I know that the Niners had a couple injuries, but I think if the Seahawks and the Niners meet NFC Championship Sunday, the Seahawks, I think, win that game, and obviously go to the Super Bowl, because, NFC champions obviously go and play the AFC champions. No ironic statement there, but, 31 seconds, that's all it was. And that's what we're going to be talking about all through the offseason. 31 seconds. That's basically hashtag 31 seconds is all we got to say. And for the Falcons, they almost blew it again. And then, of course, they almost blew it against... They did blow it against the Niners. But, 2 chances to close out games convincingly. And, they win the one. Luckily, they win the one. They were very, very lucky against Seattle. And then, of course, very, very unlucky against San Francisco there in the NFC Championship game.
Everyone looked unlucky against San Francisco. I was stunned that first playoff game they came out. They looked amazing. And I was like, they're going to make it the whole way to the championship, if not to the Super Bowl. And you're right. The matchups between Seattle and the 49ers, that would have been interesting to see. Would have been better than they had against the Falcons, but I guess we'll never get to see that in the playoffs. But, now the Super Bowl is coming up. We got Baltimore versus San Francisco. I think everyone knows that I'm going for Baltimore. Since somebody else like San Francisco had to get 5 Super Bowls, You can't let them get another.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What do
Well-
you think about Baltimore or San Francisco?
Well, for me, well, you're the expert analyst, but for me, I definitely pulling for Baltimore. Obviously, I'm not going to cheer for San Francisco because that's our division rivals here in the Northwest there with Seattle. I honestly don't like Colin Kaepernick. I think the guy is a little bit high on himself. And he's going to work on getting this Kaepernicking thing trademarked. I mean, everybody's trying to be like Tebow now. Everybody is trying to be like... Everything has got a name. I don't know if you heard there in college football, they were trying to get Teoing, Manti Teoing, with Notre Dame. Teo was trying to get... Yeah, Teo was trying to get some touchdown celebration, or some celebration that he does.
Something. Like for a sack or something?
Yeah, for a sack, or... for an interception, or for a fumble recovery, or something like that. They were going to try to get a trademark done there.
No. I don't think so.
Everything's got a
You're
name
not gonna
now.
get that.
Everything has a name. There was an NHL celebration 2 nights ago that caught the eye of everybody. I mean, it was a good celebration, but a lot of people think it was way over the top. Basically, the guy scored a goal with 4.7 seconds to go. I don't know if you saw or heard about it. He scored a goal, and he basically skated, and there was only 4.7 seconds left, so obviously the crowd went nuts because it was on home ice. They tied the game. Basically, he skates really, really fast, gets to center ice, goes on his knees, and slides into his own zone. And basically, they're going to try to, Yakupoving, because his last name is Yakupov, so they're trying to get a name for that, Yakupoving. So everything has to have a name right now. Obviously, I'm obviously pulling for Baltimore because, like I said, San Francisco, we're rivals. But Ray Lewis, I mean, how can you argue against Ray Lewis? What a career he's had. And
tell me about it.
Yeah.
Baltimore has been blessed to have Ray Lewis. I think what they should do is they should get Manti Te'o after Ray Lewis is gone. That's what I'm thinking. They should get Te'o.
Well,
But yeah, San Francisco versus Baltimore. The Steelers in Baltimore have a long history. We're division rivals. But the only reason I am going for Baltimore, actually I have 2 reasons. One reason I'm going for Baltimore is that San Francisco has too many Super Bowls. And if they get another one, then they'll be tied with us, and I don't want that. Reason number 2, my neighbor is a Ravens fan. God bless his heart.
Yeah.
And he would be crushed if they lost. So I
Yeah.
guess I have to go with him.
And you guys would never hear the end of it.
No, we wouldn't. So we better go with him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah.
Because then if you guys lose, then you guys can lose together.
Right. And if we win, then we can get together.
Have a party.
So it kind of works out both ways.
Yeah, there you go. That works out perfectly. Man, that's pretty cool. I do like the idea that Teo would come to Baltimore and maybe take over. Obviously Baltimore's not going to be that high up in the draft. So they'd have to trade for him, and they'd have to give up probably a pretty good players to get Manti Te'o. There's a lot of reports. There is several reports. Now, I don't know if you saw the interview or not with Katie Couric and Manti Te'o. I know we're switching gears from NFL to college football, but Katie Couric basically came out and openly asked Manti Te'o, "Are you gay?"
I didn't see that.
And he said no, he's not, because the whole entire situation with his girlfriend and everything that died, and then quote, she wasn't real. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I heard all about it.
Yeah. Obviously, who hasn't heard about it? I mean, that's the biggest sports story. And honestly,
College especially.
yeah. And
He was just trying to boost his Heisman status. Some people say he didn't know about it. Personally, I don't think he knew, because other people, like for instance Troy Polamalu, who lives in Hawaii, said he's met this girl before that he was talking about. And I think this other guy, the pastor's son, was just copying her pictures over, copy her account or whatever. However that stuff works. He just took some of her pictures and pretended to be her, and then later on confessed to it. That's what I think. But that's just my opinion.
yeah,
Not like I'm
you know-
into it or anything.
yeah. I mean, I don't really know Manti Te'o very well. I'm not really Manti Te'o philosophized. All I know is he's a Mormon going to a Catholic school, which that raises a lot of eyebrows, to be honest. You know, why isn't he playing at Brigham Young or Utah?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like,
That didn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
why Notre Dame? Why Catholic school?
I don't know. College football fascinates me.
It's very confusing to me. I personally think Manti Te'o isn't telling the truth. That's my take on it. From what I've heard, you know, and I didn't know about this Troy Polamalu thing, so maybe that changes a little bit.
Yeah, him and somebody from the Cardinals has met this supposed girl before in Hawaii, so
Wow.
he could have been trying to boost his Heisman pass. I don't know.
You know, and I think a lot of people think that. I don't think anybody was going to be taken away from Johnny Manziel.
No.
Nobody was going to be beating Johnny Manziel for the Heisman. This guy's a freshman.
But he's trying to give himself a little boost.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he would have gotten it.
No, I don't even think with a boost or anything, there is absolutely no way that he wins the Heisman over Johnny Manziel.
No offense, he is good.
Oh, he's the best defensive player in the league, in the NCAA. Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I saw him play, and I was like, that guy has just got to go pro.
Yeah. Now the big question is, I think the big question is the transition from college to pro, will he be as good? In your eyes, what do you think?
Right. It's happened before, to quarterbacks and other defensive players when they transfer from the college to the pro. Sometimes they lose something, their drive or mentality or whatever. I don't know what exactly does it. Manti Te'o, depends on what team he goes to. If he goes to the Ravens, he'll be surrounded by people like Terrell Suggs,
Ed Reed,
and so forth.
Ed Reed. Yep.
And that right there would be enough to motivate anybody.
Yeah.
I think that he'll come in kicking and screaming. But you can never tell with people like this. I mean, with this new story that's emerged about all that we just talked about for the last few minutes, but that new story, it might jog him a little bit. He might not be as sharp, maybe not as agile, maybe he'll lose some drive of his. I don't know what it is, but he might.
Yeah, well, a lot of people think that the way it works, because college football, the players are smaller, they're easier to tackle if you're on defense, they're easier to run by if you're on offense. So a lot of people think that the transition from college to NFL is because of the size factor and maybe the speed factor, and maybe even the coaching factor. You know, the coaches in the NFL are obviously different coaches than college football. You know, they teach you to do different things because of playing in the NFL. You have to play better. You have to play stronger. And that's why a lot of people think, I know we're transitioning from Notre Dame now to Michigan, but Denard Robinson, a lot of people don't think he can be a good college or good NFL player, whether it's quarterback, running back, or wide receiver. They don't think he can be good enough because he's so small.
Yeah, Denard Robinson was really a letdown for Michigan fans.
Yeah.
I think he could be like maybe a kick returner, maybe, or a punt returner. That would probably be my estimation of his extent in the National Football League, is maybe one of those two positions. But that's about as far as I see him.
Yeah, you know, I think he could make a good backup, running back, and or maybe bring him into Seattle and be a backup quarterback to Russell Wilson. Now I know, obviously, we have our $6 or $7 million quarterback locked up in the Green Bay Matt Flynn. We have him here in Seattle, and he got paid $6 million this year to just hold the clipboard for Russell Wilson. So, you know, we have our quarterback. Another option would be, now I don't know the whole entire Tim Tebow situation. I don't know where he's going to go. A lot of people say Jacksonville because that's the logical place for him. But let's say Tim Tebow does go to Jacksonville. I know Jacksonville does have about 3 or 4 quarterbacks that would easily be able to back him up. But let's say maybe Denard Robinson, maybe Jacksonville brings him in.
Maybe.
You know, again,
well, hey, I gotta go.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna let you know, go Ravens, and I wish them the best. I wish Ray Lewis a wonderful last game of his career, and we'll see what happens.
Enjoy the game, man. Thanks for the phone call.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll have you. We'll have you again. I don't know. We'll have you again sometime.
All right, sounds like a plan.
All right, we'll talk to you later,
Thanks,
man.
Caleb.
Phil Davis of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and I'm just getting a text message in here apologizing for the quick exit, but he's got a NFL project he's got to work on, and he had to get going to get that going. His wife was reminding him, you know what, hey, you got to get this project going. Enough of the phone call with the measly small news talk show radio. And I want to thank Mr. Phil Davis, though, for joining us on the Caleb Turner Talk Show live from our Anchor Radio Network, Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada studios. That wraps it up for us today, the January 26, 2013 edition. Next week will be Super Bowl weekend, and we will have plenty of Super Bowl previewing to get done next week. And of course, next week we'll bring another full week in the NHL. We'll definitely have tons of NHL talk next week. Might try to get an NHL analyst in here. We've had the NBA, and we've also had the NFL, and of course we had our border lineup expert last week. If there is any suggestions that anybody would have for the Caleb Turner Talk Show, you can email me at Hardy, HARDY, ATACAGENT, JOE96 at gmail.com. Or you can follow us on our Google Plus page, The Anchor Radio Network, and you can post your comments and or suggestions for the show. I'm sure that would be very, very interesting to you. That wraps it up for us today, the Caleb Turner Talk Show, January 26, 2013 edition. You got it live on the Anchor Radio Network. We'll see you next week. Stay safe. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Great basketball games for you tomorrow. The Lakers and the Thunder. And, of course, the Canucks and the Sharks. And the Pro Bowl for you boring people that want to watch all the best NFL players go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, in one of the biggest overrated all-star, quote-quote, all-star games in the world of sports. You are listening to the Anchor Radio Network. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
You are listening to a presentation of the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. Tune in every week for more Caleb Turner Talk Shows live on the Anchor Radio Network.